Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up.
Good Wednesday morning and welcome to Run It Back. What?
Happy hump day.
Wow, that's fun, Lou. Happy Wednesday to you too, my friend. Chandler, do you have any fun morning things you'd like to say?
I'm all set.
Yeah, you look great. You really put in a lot of effort.
You know what? I went black shirt, white shirt, brown shirt.
You told us yesterday to wear black today, and then you did it.
Yeah, my bad. Okay. Trying to be a little more versatile this year.
He wanted us to be the Pips.
It's just a sandwich. We're going to get to some headlines. There's some interesting headlines today, to say the least. I do love a fashion story, and that's kind of what we're kicking things off with here up in Detroit. JB Bickerstaff has said no more hoodies in practice. You practice like you play is the motto he's trying to enforce here. Let's start with you, Chandler. As a man who clearly never cares what he's wearing, are you good with this particular policy?
I am, especially with the job that he has taken over. The Detroit Pistons are fully rebuilding. They're a younger team. They're looking to set a culture there and create a new kind of situation there. And this isn't breaking news to me. I know when I was drafted to Houston, JB Bickerstaff was on that staff with Kevin McHale, and this rule was implemented. This was always a thing where the team issued gear. Don't wear anything that's going to set you apart from your teammates. You know, guys would wear earrings or do-rags or, different, hoodies with hoodies on in film. JB would always shut that down. So this isn't like a new thing where I think he's just kind of doing out of nowhere. This has always been kind of his principles. His dad, Bernie Bickerstaff, had these values. So I think it's now changed with the era and the new kids and how things are doing stuff.
Yeah.
I also think if he took the Laker job instead of JJ, I don't think he's doing this with LeBron and Anthony Davis. I think he's creating a culture in Detroit. So it's not new to us. And we were talking before the show, there's been so many other scenarios where some coaches had to have your shoes tied before going into film, so you're always ready. Some coaches make you get your ankles taped for certain practices or shoot-arounds. So every coach has their own thing, and this clearly is what he's going to try and make mandatory this year moving forward and just creating that culture in Detroit.
Yeah, but it's also a gray area. You're banning hoodies, and you're in Detroit. A January shoot-around in your own building.
It's cold.
No fans. You're going to be freezing. Try that in Chicago when you're pulling up to the United Center.
Right.
For a shoot-around and you're saying no hoodies, this and that. But on the flip side of it, no earrings, nothing on your head and all of those type of things. I get it. One thing that you have to understand about this league is winning gives you a lot of leverage. This Detroit Pistons team, if they can go on an 8 to 10 game run, that's when you stand in solidarity and say, hey, coach, we want our hoodies. We want to be able to do the things that we want to be able to do. In order for you to be able to do that, you have to win some games. And so I understand that he's trying to change culture here. He's trying to put everybody in line, earn all of your leisure, earn all of the things that you guys want to do that we consider extracurricular activities. That's with the guys wearing the sweatpants, with the hoodies and this and that. Sometimes it's actually necessary. And also, we're talking about game worn and trying to do things in the game. The actual pregame sweatsuits now have hoods on.
Yeah, they're team-issued gear.
They're team-issued hoods. So at my practice,
So just wear that.
Practice, yeah, just wear that. So, but I understand the premise of what he's trying to get across to these young guys, but there's going to be a gray area when you're out there on the road.
It's a clout thing, right? It's Devin Booker can wear a hat during shoot-around. Kevin Durant can wear a beanie. LeBron James, James Harden can wear certain things. Those guys aren't on the Detroit Pistons this coming year. So this is a culture that he's creating that he has to almost do to change things there, to create a winning culture. And again, I think it's just with the job he's given. If he did this, if he took over the Laker job, there's no way he's doing it. He wouldn't be able to do it. He's not going to tell LeBron James he can't wear a hoodie or he can't wear his own logo. I remember in my rookie year, Kyle Lowry would always want to wear his Chinese-sponsored K-Lo shorts. Him and McHale shut it down. They're like, no, you're wearing Rocket shorts.
That's a young Kyle
100%.
Yeah.
Now, you
if
go,
you did
you
it
go
now,
to the
it'd be
NBA
different.
champion Kyle Lowry, you're going to have a full-blown argument on your hands.
And the player's probably going to win.
Yeah, and the player's going to win.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 10 years now. I'm wearing my stuff.
I mean, Cade Cunningham, obviously the guy on that team, very young though as well, just about being professional, being ready to play, said he's cool with it, it's fine. But you're right, maybe they get some wins going.
The minute Cade Cunningham makes an All-Star this year, he's wearing a hoodie. He's wearing a hoodie
You think
next
so?
year. Yes, it's all about clout. It's all
All-Star.
about what you can get away with as a player and as your own
As
brand.
a human, really. I think everyone pushes that on.
It all comes down to leverage. If coach comes in and you have that understanding with him, if you're a veteran guy, if you're Tobias Harris going in there, you say, hey, look, guys, let's follow the rules. Let's do what we do. We win four out of 5 this week. then we'll go have a conversation with Coach about this. We'll loosen this up a little bit. But until then, let's get in line. Let's earn everything that we want.
Let's put ourselves in position, everything to be a team collectively and try and win games. So I think that's his message, and that's his point he's trying to prove here. We have to do this together. We're not good enough to be able to separate.
Be a team.
We're not good enough to be cool.
We're not good enough to be cool. We aren't cool. Let's win some games, then we'll be cool, then we can start doing some crazy shit.
Have you guys had any, and this can be going back as far as you want, but any coaches who've tried to implement one of these things and you're just like, I don't like this?
Yeah, JB Bickerstaff.
That's the one. Just like sticking with
JB Bickerstaff and Kevin McHale is just this old school, like he did not like anything different. He was just such a simple man. Let's get our work done. He was this tie your shoes before film, and I had a thing where like my feet would always fall asleep during games because I tied my shoes tight as hell. So I would untie my shoes when I subbed out of the game.
Okay.
So again, like now with like, there's just so many different circumstances where like, how are you gonna obey all these different rules? But yeah, this has always been. That's what I'm saying. I hate people like, oh, this is different. He's just trying to get attention. I'm like, no, this has been a rule since I was drafted in 2011, JB Bickerstaff. So this is nothing new.
And I had Mo Cheeks in Philly for my first 4 years in the NBA. And I wore sweatpants one practice, and he said, young fella, come here. He said, why you got on sweatpants? You're not even gonna play tonight. You that cold? and he taught me from that moment on, earn what you wanna do. Any extracurricular stuff you wanna do to stand out and all of that, you have to earn it. And so from that moment on, I understood that. And about year 8, I earned my sweatpants.
Year 8?
And I earned my hoodie, and that's how I practiced.
I'm interested to see if they make them all wear the team traveled gear, like on the plane. On the road, like a straight AU
But that's a fashion show kind of sometimes.
Yeah, that's where you can really promote your own brand.
By the way, we had a dress code in high school. We were told we couldn't wear pants if you were a girl to graduation. I wore pants to graduation, but yeah, you weren't allowed to. That's the dress code that's made for no reason whatsoever other than to be annoying. This I kind of get, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Normally I'd say no to dress codes, but I kind of get what he's trying to do here. There are a lot of rules going around right now. Adam Silver also thrown out one, the phones during the games. And this might actually be news to some people who aren't aware, but the new policy is that you cannot use your phone at all before, during, and after, in addition to like the social media stuff that's already there. This one's interesting.
This one's going to be the most broken rule of all time.
How do they monitor?
First of all, if you're a grown man with a family and you have a sick kid at home, you're going to want to check on your family at halftime. Even if you want to do something that's not as serious,
not as noble,
you want to check on so-and-so. As a grown man, that is your right. Halftime is somewhat of an intermission. If you don't understand the structure of how halftime works, the coach probably won't come in for 10 minutes. You're literally sitting there doing your own personal things. Some guys are in the training room. Some guys might be on their phones. Some guys might be talking about watching film and this and that. And then the coach comes in with like 5 minutes left and you guys get on the same page collectively. I don't see how they're gonna implement this if they're gonna walk around and physically take phones, but you're talking about grown men. At what job can you not use your phone?
I mean, we use our phones.
Also,
the minute we go to break.
What do most people listen to in their ears when they're getting ready?
Music.
And where do you play that music from?
Great point.
So you're gonna tell me I can't listen and do my normal pregame routine now, listening to music? What's being played on my phone? So it's a silly rule. I understand. Listen, if someone's on at halftime liking photos or posting stories or tweeting, fine. That's a different scenario. But like Lou said, if there's a sick kid at home, my wife is pregnant, or if I'm a young kid and I'm just checking my ride.
Like, what am I going to do after the game?
But I'm going to be on my phone. Everyone's doing it. There's no way they're going to be able to monitor this in the first place. So imagine being some 20-year-old intern trying to tell James Harden to get off his phone at half. Like, it's just never going to work. I agree, no social media. That's different. But being on your phone, I'm sorry. Like, if my mom is sick, like, I'm going to be on my phone. Like, there's too many excuses or too many gray areas for this to even uphold.
I mean, this is the thing. I don't know that everyone watching understands that the phones are being looked at during games. I think maybe some of us think, oh, they go into the locker room and it's like a pep talk and then you come back out. So this is not weird, right? Because, you know, you guys use your phones.
No, like if I get it, if I'm at halftime and I'm down 15, I'm a coach, and I see someone texting on the phone, I'm like, get the hell off your phone. What are you doing? We're trying to come back to win the game.
How about
this? This is nuts.
How about this? This is the exhibit.
But this is 2009.
That's literally the day Twitter's basically started.
15 years, how many scenarios have we had since then? This is still the example.
By the way, it's also kind of
the example. So obviously you don't have a culture of it now. Do you have guys in there that's probably liking pictures, doing all of these things, and it's popping up on timelines? And
yes,
that
does
can be somewhat of a PR issue. I understand that part, but trying to get guys completely off of their phones at pregame, halftime.
They should say no social media. They should say guys that have their own podcast. They shouldn't be able to report during the halftime.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean, or if I'm hurt and I'm not playing tonight, I can't after the first quarter go in and tweet what we need to change. I understand that. To say no phones pre and during.
How do you even?
It's impossible.
You don't.
It's not happening.
Unless you take and you're not taking.
Show pouches where you put.
Oh,
everybody.
I hate them.
Actually,
but then again, the next.
I'll probably get
you just.
But then the next game, you have 2 phones. Take my phone. I'm getting another phone.
And also, game 1 now, I know who's taking the phones. We're gonna have an all-out argument, bro. You're not taking my phone.
I'm giving that intern $1,000. I'm saying, don't ask me the rest of the season.
Right? You think Doc Rivers has time to walk around collecting phones? Like, no, he's game planning. He's getting ready for the game the same type of way.
This must be an honor system.
Say no social media. Don't say no phone.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an honor system thing. You can't take a phone.
And I'm going to tell you
it's not very honorable.
No.
Chandler, if you've ever gone into the coach's office,
they're on their phone
what's
too.
What's the first thing you see when you go to the coach's office? I'll call you back.
Yeah.
Chandler's coming in. Let me holler at Chandler for a second. And the coach is hanging up his phone because he's on the phone with his family.
Guys have their AirPods in on the floor with their phone in their tights, listening to music. You cannot monitor this. This is not going to happen. This is silly.
You just get like an iPod for your music, and then that's all you can have. That would be amazing.
Like an Apple Watch.
Bring them back.
It's like, there's no stop. There's no stop it. Technology is too crazy.
All right, so there you go. Some people might have learned that the phones are being looked at during halftime and sometimes being used. Derrick Rose had a comment that I thought was very interesting. He did this on Jeff Teague's Club 520 podcast. The quote is, "MJ wouldn't be MJ if he didn't play for the Bulls." He said he still would have been a great player. I don't want to try to start anything here, but he wouldn't have been the GOAT.
I don't have context, but like, you wouldn't have been Derrick Rose if you didn't get drafted by the Bulls. I don't have context to what he was trying to get across, but I feel like MJ was going to be MJ, whether he was a Portland Trail Blazer or a Cleveland Cavalier. Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan.
Like, why is the emphasis on that if Chicago hadn't been the ones to draft him?
I guess Chicago is just a traditional franchise, but I'm with Lou. Like,
he made them a traditional.
I was going to say, what came first? The Bulls or
and MJ is MJ. LeBron is LeBron. If LeBron went to Cleveland, and I know he's from there, but he's the greatest of all time, second greatest of all time in your opinion.
There you go. Thank you.
This I don't get. Now I do get the other players that in a bigger market where that's a different scenario. But Michael Jordan, I think, is going to be one of the greatest no matter who drafted him.
Well, LeBron should be your case study.
Yeah,
LeBron
James was the smallest market.
LeBron James was LeBron in Cleveland. LeBron James was LeBron in Miami. He's LeBron James in the LA Lakers uniform. Those type of guys are going to be who they are. Now, culturally, is this what he's trying to say? I'm not sure whether it comes down to, the ads or the way that the city of Chicago got behind him.
That's what I think it was, the point,
forward. Like, culturally, sure, if that's the point that he's making. Talent-wise, Michael Jordan, he could have played for the...
So if MJ got drafted by the Spurs, let's just say, he wouldn't have been Michael Jordan?
I think he would have been. You can argue he could have even been greater, which is crazy to say, but, he's Michael Jordan. I think wherever he was, he's going to be great.
Are there players out there or have played or currently playing that maybe have been limited in how great they could be because of where they were drafted?
Yeah, well, I think it's more about the opportunity of the structure of the team than the actual market. There's plenty of great basketball players that had great college careers that get drafted and they get stuck. They get stuck.
Kemba Walker.
They get stuck behind somebody, and I got drafted to Houston where they literally didn't have a small forward, and I ended up starting my 6th game of my career. That was lucky. I got an opportunity right away to play. Some guys didn't have that opportunity, and they end up in Europe, or they end up, their confidence gets broken. So it's more about the opportunity basketball-wise, in my opinion, than the big market. Now, when you look at free agency and you start looking at these markets, there's certain players too that are such household names that when they play on the Lakers and they play on the Knicks, then they get traded or they get moved to a smaller market, and you haven't heard from them in years. So there is that where you get so much notoriety and public fame just from playing on one of those big market teams. Austin Reeves, I love him. If Austin Reeves was on the Washington Wizards right now, would he be as big of a thing as he is on the Los Angeles Lakers?
Absolutely not.
No chance in hell, but he's a great player, but we wouldn't be talking about him. Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Clarkson, these guys were famous when they were playing on the Lakers. Yeah. They were famous. They get traded to Utah. They moved to Washington. Those are the type of franchise that aren't on national TV. Those guys don't have national endorsements and sponsorships and commercials. There's less eyes on them. So the market does help, which is why free agency is big, because you can pick that market and you look at how many dollars I'm going to make off the court here versus here. But it's different for every player.
It's interesting. I feel like some guys probably, yeah, they disappeared.
Like Anthony Edwards, how big of a star would he be? SGA, if they weren't in Minnesota and Oklahoma City and they were on the Knicks or they were on the Lakers, like they would be mega stars. They already are, and there's exceptions, like, but they would.
But it would be even more elevated.
It would be next level.
Which is crazy to think about. Anthony Edwards as a Laker would be an interesting.
Think about it, he's in movies and he's already doing all these national ads and his Adidas deal, and he's in Minnesota. Can you imagine what it would be if he was on the Celtics?
It'd be crazy.
Yeah, it'd be nuts.
I wouldn't hate it, but it's not how it is. We're taking a break right now? We're taking a break right now. All right, we're going to take a quick one. When we come back, I believe, Tyus Jones. Run it back.
Run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.
Welcome back. We got some questions as we get ready to start this season here in, less than a week. Yay! So no Cat, obviously, in Minnesota. We did just talk about Anthony Edwards a little bit, but he is the guy, and he kind of already was. But does this mean he will take another leap as a player? Go.
Yes, I think so. I think he is primed. I think now with Cat, even more so, he's going to have the ball in his hands even more than he did the following year. He's got a whole nother year of maturity and confidence. It's going to take some time fitting in with these new guys that they acquired with Dante, with Julius Randle. I do think that the offense might take a little bit of a hit because the spacing is going to be, they're going to have to figure out the spacing. Julius Randle is not as good of an outside shooter as Karl Anthony Towns are, but this team's going to win a lot of games. They're a deep team. They defend. Chris Finch has them playing on both sides of the ball, but it all starts with Anthony Edwards. He's so explosive. He's such just a personality. It is his team, which I also believe is part of the reason why they were okay with moving off from Karl Anthony Towns, because Anthony Edwards is the guy, and they see clearly that Julius Randle could fit with him offensively and defensively. You add their other role players that they have, Mike Conley, people like that. They're going to have a good year. They're going to win a lot of games.
I like the approach that he had this summer in the Olympics. He wasn't just happy to be there. He could have just went along for the ride, being a young guy. Like, hey, I'm just happy to be here with LeBron and Steph. Instead, he challenged those guys every day. He wanted to know where he was in the pecking order, and also spending so much time with Kevin Durant. Even before the Olympics, after the Olympics, he's been very vocal about Kevin Durant being somebody he looked up to, and he soaked up as much knowledge and as much game as he could from KD. He's going to come back this season better than ever.
I love that he's so vocal about everything. We like to do the grades, right, after trades happen, especially a trade like this between two big teams with stars. Did they get better or worse after this trade?
It's gonna be interesting. I hate to say worse because Julius Randle is a guy. He's an all-star caliber guy. He's gonna give them a different look. But I was starting to settle into seeing Cat and develop together. I was settling into that 1-2 punch and then putting some really, really good pieces around them. I was a little confused with that. I know that came down to salary cap. That was a business decision. That wasn't a basketball decision. But I'm interested to see what can happen, because when you look at it on paper, the New York Knicks absolutely look like they've gotten better when you add Cat. But when you add DiVincenzo to Julius Randle to that, they're very capable, very talented guys. It's just some questions there. Like Chandler just mentioned, some spacing, some style of play issues that I'm going to have to see pan out. But right now, I think Anthony Edwards definitely takes a leap. He's going to give them an opportunity to win a lot of basketball games individually. I would love to see what they do when they put those guys out there, though.
And this is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for Naz Reid. The minutes that he got last year, he was unbelievable. Every time Towns was out or got in foul trouble and Naz Reid was in that closing lineup, he performed, and he was clutch. He can step out. He can space the floor a little bit. So I think with his more opportunity, I think he's going to thrive in this offense, and I think that with Cat leaving, it's really going to be his chance to even take that next step.
I think they do play faster, though. I think adding those guys, they can play a more up-tempo style of pace, and you opening up passing lanes, you opening up lanes for Anthony Edwards to be aggressive. You're giving Julius Randle an opportunity to attack downhill because, he's known for getting those rebounds, pushing it out, and starting to breaks himself. That gives them an opportunity to be a more fast and athletic basketball team, opposed to when you're playing for Cat, who's going to be a pick-and-pop guy, or sometimes he's posting up, he's going to take his time with the basketball. And Julius Randle does that as well, but I think you're going to see a completely different style of play with this Minnesota.
I also think Julius Randle felt very disrespected on the way out of New York, and I think that would be interesting to see how it manifests.
And speaking of disrespected, Rudy Gobert is probably the most disrespected player in the NBA. We haven't even mentioned him. He's multiple Defensive Player of the Year, so he's still going to be that catalyst. They're deep. I love the rookie Terrence Shannon, Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, so they also got some pieces where they're going to have a lot deeper team than they did last year.
It's going to be scrappy. I kind of like the idea of all this. Let's talk a little SGA, Lou. You had him last year as your MVP before we started things out. He did end up finishing second overall. We know what they've done. They've added Alex Caruso. They added Isaiah Hartenstein. And they are the favorites to win the West as of right now. He is currently, though, according to the Smarties, second in favorite. Luka's still the favorite to win MVP before we get things started. Is this his to lose this year?
Absolutely not. He's still playing with house money. We still consider him a young team. They're still in their Cinderella phase. Everything that they're doing is a plus. It's with a cherry on top, and we're excited about it. We hadn't put an expectation level on this OKC team. The moment we do that, then it becomes his MVP to lose. Until then, it's going to be the Lukas of the world. It's going to be the Jason Tatums. It's going to be the Jaylen Browns. These are the guys that we expect to be in the MVP running. We were somewhat surprised that SGA was in this conversation and that he's at the top of that conversation. So is it his to lose? Absolutely not. But is he still a favorite? One of the two guys? Vegas says so. We say so.
Wait,
so
you don't think we have expectations on OK? I feel like we do. I mean, they're favorites to win the West.
Even if they fall short, do we really care?
Well, when does that kick in? Because for me, I'm starting to be now like, all right, they're the team.
I think it kicks in when they become the team to beat. I don't think they've established themselves as the team to beat. The West aren't chasing OKC. OKC is still chasing the Dallas Mavericks. Even last year, they probably felt like they were chasing the Phoenix Suns team with them being stacked with a Book and a KD, or a Clippers team with the big three over there, or a Lakers team that, has a LeBron James. They still feel like there was a pecking order as far as success goes in the Western Conference. So until that guard changes where they are the team to beat, they're the ones being chased down, then we have a different expectation for them.
It's true. If I'm one of these teams in the West, and I do think OKC is going to finish 1 or 2, and SGA is going to be a top 3 MVP just because of their youth and the pieces they added with Hartenstein and Caruso. They're going to win a shit ton of games in the regular season. That being said, come the postseason, I'm still more scared to face a Jokic in the playoffs. I'm still more scared to face, the trio in Phoenix because you haven't seen them do it in the playoffs yet. And they are so young, but they are on the rise. They are going to be the team to beat in the next 5-7 years if they stick together.
Because we still don't know if they're serious. We don't know if this was just a great run. Because now teams are starting to scout some of these guys that had success. This was their first time out, having really, really successful seasons. Now you're getting scouted. If they can continue to play at this level, then you may see that expectation.
This is going to be one of those situations where come playoff time where you're the 7 or 8 seed and OKC has the 1 or 2 locked up. You are going to try and get them instead of the Dallas at 2.
Because you know what
Denver at 2. You're going to try and you would rather have that matchup than these experienced older teams that have done it before in the postseason.
Interesting. I guess that does make some sense. But for me, I'm like, I'm ready. Let's see what they got. Lou, over the offseason, you implied there was, I love this, a conspiracy against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Considering all of that, the window for Jason Tatum and his MVP goal, is it closed?
I think he just kicked it wide open again with his Olympic experience. I'm so excited to see this Boston Celtics team. They've always carried themselves with a chip on their shoulder. They've relished in that role of being overlooked, being underappreciated. Now you add on to that storyline of these guys not having the opportunity to show how great they are, with Jaylen Brown not being in the Olympics at all, Jason Tatum, them not finding minutes for him. I think this is the year that you really see how tight this 1-2 punch can really be alongside, other Olympians, Drew Holiday, Derek White, and also you got Porzingis. This team is gonna be pissed off, and they're gonna be motivated. Like I said, when you win your first championship, sometimes you kind of take your foot off the gas a little bit. I think this team is pushing it all the way down to the throttle.
Yeah, I love those odds. And for a team that just won a championship, it's like we're still sleeping on them. We're still trying to debate who's the best player. We're still trying to debate whether their path was so easy because of injuries and everyone wasn't loaded and fully healthy when they had to face the Celtics in the postseason, which is partially true, but you still can't discredit this team. You still can't discredit the starting 5, the way they play both ends of the ball. They're unbelievably defensively, they're unbelievable offensively, and all these narratives that we're trying to create about the Boston Celtics doesn't matter because they just won the championship. And like Lou just said, I picked Tatum to win my MVP because I think they're going to win the championship. I think he has everything to prove. It's always been Tatum's team. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, Jaylen Brown's better. Then he gets disrespected by, Steve Kerr playing his 2 other teammates that he's clearly had a better career than in the Olympics. So he does have a lot to prove. So that is why I love those odds at plus 1,300.
Those are, I would put a dollar on that. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
That seems like it's doable. We had a lot of coaching changes before this season gets started, so let's just go through them right here, all right?
It's a good investment.
It's a really good investment. Budenholzer with the Suns, JJ, of course, with the Lakers, JB Pistons, Kenny Atkinson out in Cleveland, Charles Lee with the Hornets, Jordy Fernandez with the Nets. talk to me about which of these coaches will have the biggest impact.
I think it's got to be Bud. I think he's a proven track record, what he's done in Milwaukee, what he's done in his entire career. He knows how to coach stars. He's done it with Giannis. He's done it in that situation. Now I think he's the guy to figure out this big three. They've added 2 huge pieces, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris. That's been the glaring hole that they didn't have last year. They're switching Devin Booker, who's arguably the best 2-guard in the NBA. Let's go and make him a point guard. That didn't work. Now they have 2 actual guys to set up their offense. They have a year under their belt. Hopefully Bradley Beal can stay healthy this year. So I think with the combination of the way Bud runs his organization, the way he runs his offense, he's going to have the best opportunity to succeed early. And I do think Phoenix is going to have a much better season this year.
Bud is a very accomplished coach. You know, I had the opportunity to work with him in Atlanta. Love the way that he approaches the game. Love the way that he approaches coaching, how he communicates with guys, the positions that he's going to put him in. I think he's going to have a really big impact. What I'm interested to see is my man Kenny Atkinson out in Cleveland. Had an opportunity to work with him as well in Atlanta. He's a player's coach. He's the guy. He's a high energy coach. Keeps practices light, fun. He's one of the best communicators that I've had. He's a gym rat. He's the head coach. He'll come in at 10 at night and get shots up with you and run the workouts. He's not above getting the work done. That's where he comes from naturally. So those are the 2 guys that I think will have the biggest impact.
You know the difference when you look at these new head coaches, Charles Lee and the Hornets, it's a project. He's got time. They don't have expectations to win. Jordy Fernandez, Nets, there's no chance they're going to win. And JB Bickerstaff in Detroit.
Why not?
I'm just saying look at their team, though. What are we doing? Those 3 teams aren't going to win, and they know that. So,
you got to make an enemy.
And they know
but I'm just,
they're going to make an
enemy.
enemy.
If they're smart, they know they're not.
Charlotte sports are having a.
They know they're not going to win.
Fine.
My point is, there's pressure for JJ Redick to win.
Absolutely.
Like, there's
for
pressure for Bud with that roster and with that big 3 to win. So with that comes
Kenny
expectation. And Kenny Atkinson, he's kind of I like what you said there. He's the team that. Cleveland's kind of a sleeper. When they're healthy.
Do you remember the run last year? We're like,
they're
never going to lose again.
Can they figure out how to play Garland and Donovan Mitchell? Can they be happy? Can Jared Allen stay healthy? Can Evan Mobley take that step? So Cleveland is the kind of the mystery team where Atkinson can either do a really good job and get them playing to their potential and look really, really smart.
Really, really smart.
But there's other 3. I mean,
no, you don't need to crap on them.
I'm just saying, as a child.
Way to save
We've
him.
crapped on 3 teams already. We haven't even started the season. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, look at that.
Good weather.
Sunny Phoenix, I hope.
Tyus
Jones
Strong Wi-Fi outside.
This is nice. Good setup. We'll talk to Tyus next. Yeah, that looks like a hot sun.
Tyus Jones nails a 3. Oh, Tyus does his big plays.
I'ma take my shot, 'cause I'ma get the job done. Get the job done.
It's happening. All right, first of all, we are very happy for your spot here. 9-year vet joining us now, Tyus Jones, the new point guard for your Phoenix Suns. And Tyus, this has been, when they put the 3 together in Phoenix, I think a lot of us were like, this is going to be so fun to watch. And we quickly realized they were missing a piece. You now come in as that piece. So as a point guard, is this sort of a dream scenario as far as your job?
I think it has to be, right? I think it has to be. First and foremost, appreciate you guys having me on. Fan of the show. But yeah, it's a dream scenario, dream situation for myself. I mean, you look at the roster, obviously the big 3, and then for myself as a point guard, like they're gonna make my job extremely easy, and gonna allow me to just do what I do best, and that's kind of setting the table, distributing the ball, and hopefully making their job easy.
I mean, you're up close and personal. Everybody's got their opinions, but if there was a one-on-one competition that went down in that gym, who's winning on that team?
That's going to be...
Don't let her get you in a trick bag. don't let her put you in a trick bag.
The minute you say KD, Book is in your head. The minute you don't even mention Brad, he's pissed.
I'm gonna say it'll depend on the day.
That's good answer.
That's a great answer.
Good answer.
That's a great answer.
Well said. Tyus, I have never been one to turn down money in free agency, and you then took $3.3 million, which again, this is a dream scenario. Your job is to be the point guard. They obviously struggled last year not having that facilitator. You just mentioned how this is kind of a dream scenario for you. What are your expectations, and do you feel like that, you are the missing piece of this team with the addition of you and Monte Morris? It's exactly what they needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectations, personally for me is just come in and be myself, do what I've always done, and that's just be a complete point guard. Whether it's facilitating, whether it's knocking down open shots, just taking what the defense gives me, and then honestly, it's joining a contender, a team that won 49 games last year, wasn't fully healthy, but at the same time also. I think everyone agrees was missing that point guard piece. So just trying to improve and build on what they had last year, and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, has there been talks with Bud? Obviously, you're coming there to be the point guard. D-Book played a lot of one last year. Didn't really pan out, I think, like you thought. Has there been talks about different lineup changes or your exact role?
Yeah, just yeah, a lot of communication. Coach Bud is awesome. He's been great, and yeah, just trying to kind of get those guys back into just their natural role and doing what they do best, and that's scoring the ball, and they do that at an elite level. So for me, again, just coming and being myself, being able to kind of run the show, set the table, get guys organized, get guys in the spots, where they can be their best, and trying to be an extension of Coach Bud out there on the court.
Yeah, you mentioned setting the table and being the guy that's going to get everything organized. Last year with the Wizards, you guys played a really fast pace. Are you looking to do the same thing in Phoenix in transition? You guys going to be a more transition basketball team?
For sure, 100%. Trying to get up and down, pick up the tempo, and kind of get our big three out into space, and not let defenses load up on them. Let them get, the faster we're playing, the more we get out in transition, the more kind of one-on-one looks that they'll get. And obviously, again, you guys know down the stretch, fourth quarter, stuff slows down, so we got to be able to execute, in the half court. But we definitely want to look to push the tempo and have a faster playing style this year for sure.
Tyus, another big issue with Phoenix last year was the health. And I know Brad Beal went on a podcast and he's optimistic, saying, he missed a certain amount of games. If he played this game, that you guys would be right in the hunt for the #1 seed. How is everybody feeling in this camp? Is everyone healthy? Are you guys all ready to go opening night? Because obviously everyone goes to it, but that was a huge issue last year.
Right. Yeah, no, everyone's feeling good. Everyone is healthy, looking good. So we're excited about the season. Obviously, health is, the most important part of making a run in the league. So trying to keep everyone healthy, but also we've been getting after it in training camp. So we'll be ready to go come regular season.
I want to talk a little bit about experiences, because last year you were up in D.C. and that team ended up with the second worst record in the league. And that's coming after you've been in the playoffs the seasons before. So what's that experience like, going from being sort of used to a success level and then having to kind of adapt to this new reality in D.C.?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. You get used to, playing winning playoff basketball, and then, you go to a different situation and it's not the same. But at the same time, it was a great learning experience for me. Had a bigger role, new teammates, new chemistry, new organization. So it was a different situation and allowed me to grow as a player and as a person. And it also, showed me that you can't start to take winning or your situation for granted. You always got to be, trying to capitalize on your current situation and your current season.
Tyus, it felt like something was off a little bit with Jordan Poole last year, and whether that was just a new scenario, getting the bag, whatever it is. Do you expect a big bounce-back season from him? And do you think him and Kuzma can be a legit dynamic duo in the Eastern Conference? Yeah,
I do. I expect JP to have a great year. I think it was a lot of new for him, being the man, being the focal point of defenses. You're the first name on the scouting report now. You're not kind of that spark off the bench. So it was different. And JP's his biggest critic. So he was very hard on himself last year. He expects excellence when he steps on the court. He puts the work in. He's the first one in the gym every single day, last one to leave. So I think he was just a little too hard on himself last year, and it was weighing on him. And I expect him to be more comfortable this year and to have a big season. And I think him and Kuz, you know, a year under their belt, chemistry-wise, can definitely look to improve this year and have a better year as a duo for sure.
Now, we can't talk about Kuz without talking about some of these outfits. Now, give me the inside scoop. Did Kuz really feel like he was having it on, or is he trolling? Did he have a stylist? Give me the game. He can't think he was having it on, T.
Favorite one.
Kuz feels like he has it on every day. Every day.
I love that.
He'll tell you he's one of the trendsetters of this fashion. This fashion world.
Oh my God!
Right.
Look at that.
To be a trendsetter, doesn't
you know
someone
what?
have to
Honestly,
follow?
Tyus, I didn't see anybody else wear that. I don't know what trend he thought he set. I didn't see another. I didn't see a different color variant of that. I didn't see anybody.
It
set a
looks
trend to not wear that again.
Yeah, he set the trend to roll.
He don't care. He's gonna go out on a limb, and. But yeah, no, I love Kuz. He's one of one. He's one of one.
Imagine on a cold day, that sweater looks very comfortable, like very cozy.
Stop.
Okay, fine. All right, you played a year at Duke under Coach K. You guys won the national championship. You beat Wisconsin. I say all this to say now you're teammates with Frank Kaminsky. So,
Frank,
is there shit talking going on? Like, do you remind him of that? How does this work?
Yeah, I remind him, you know, quite often. But yeah, Frank, you know, me and Frank played against each other, obviously in college, have, you know, same draft class coming into the league now. So, you know, there's that mutual respect there. He's a great guy. But yeah, I definitely will, I bring it up when needed.
I feel like Frank Kaminsky, and I mean this with all due respect, but he looks like one of those guys that you're like, that guy's not going to be good at basketball. So.
Is that because he's white?
I know. By the way, I'm just setting him up for his racial.
Does he look like an accountant or a plumber?
A plumber, yes.
Uncle Frank.
What is the scouting report on Mr. Kaminsky?
Frank can shoot the lights out. Frank can shoot the lights out, and he's an extremely smart basketball player. He's crafty. He knows how to, you know, force defenses into switch. He's a good pick and pop big. And I mean, frankly, he's an NBA player, so he understands the game. He understands spacing, when to cut, when to pop, things like that.
We're sticking with the whites you played with. We're going to go to Grayson Allen up next. He was obviously your teammate that year at Duke. What's it like teaming up with him? Has he hurt anybody in practice? What we got going on with Grayson?
They said he's buff. They said he's more buff now.
Yeah. Grayson's been in the weight room, but no, I'm. You know, that's my brother. I'm looking forward to sharing the court with him again. You know, it's our second time now in the league, being teammates. So it's always fun. You know, we have a built-in chemistry from college. So he kind of knows how to play off of me. I know where to find him, you know, for his shots and things like that. But again, that's one of those situations that you don't take for granted. You don't always get to, you know, play alongside your close friends. So looking to take full advantage of that one.
Yeah, he's obviously had a hell of a career at Duke, and it's funny, we always talk about Duke and is a, you know, somewhat annoying but good college careers. Where do you rank him on that kind of scale? As number one, Michelle?
Yes, it's number one.
Scale as far as what goes.
Well, this says the Mount Rushmore of annoying great Duke players.
It's nice and
There's
bad.
like 25 of them.
You got Danny Ferry.
It's like a backhanded compliment.
It is. It is.
He's probably up there. He got his fair share of hate at Duke, but that comes with you know, the name, that comes with the Duke brand, but also comes with when you're having success. Obviously he had his share of incidents there, but again, you're under that microscope. You know what I mean? So you're under that microscope. So it's a big deal. But he's definitely up there. I know, you know, JJ's up there. Leitner's up there. He might be on the Mount Rushmore.
Leitner's one to me.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Duke guys, Cooper Flagg, he's going into his
Speaking of another white
guy.
Yeah.
He's going into his first season as a Duke guy. Have you been able to run into him in some pickup games? And is he the real deal? Is he the real number one pick for you?
You know what? I haven't gotten a chance to run into him or see him in person yet, but just from seeing him obviously playing with the USA team or seeing some clips down in Cameron already, he seems like the real deal. His motor is kind of the biggest thing that jumps out to me. How hard he plays, and I know a lot of times, kind of with top guys, you don't see them playing 110%. 24/7. So I think his motor, his skill sets, extremely advanced. He's shooting the ball, at a high level already. So I think he's got all the tools to be a problem, and it'll be a fun year, watching him down in Cameron this year.
What sold me, I didn't know much, but the USA clips, like playing against NBA players, like, all right, dude, this dude's for real.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He definitely can play. Tyus, very much like you, man. I had an opportunity to be with a superstar icon type player in Allen Iverson my rookie year. You had Kevin Garnett, you had KG, and he's legendary for his shit talking. What was that like being around him as a rookie?
Man, it was amazing. It was amazing. For me, I'm born and raised in Minnesota, so I grew up a big KG fan. Watching him, in playoff games, playoff atmospheres, and just following his whole career. So for me to get that chance to be his teammate and kind of for him to be one of my vets, was a dream come true. It was, for me, I'm just showing up to the facility every day, watching his every move, watching, paying close attention to everything he's saying, just trying to soak up that knowledge that he was trying to pass on to us young guys that whole year. And it was, I got KG stories for days.
I was about to ask you, man, because I've seen some stuff with AI. What's it like getting ready for a game or a practice with KG? Like, what's some of the wildest things you've seen behind the scenes with him?
His intensity level is through the roof. And that's in everything he does. That's practice, that's games, that could be shoot around in the morning. He's taking it like it's life or death. Quick story. I always, one of my favorite stories is first day of training camp. I'm a rookie. I'm nervous. They're telling you, make sure you're the first one in the gym. So I think it was an 11 o'clock practice. So I'm like, I'm gonna get there at probably like 9, 8:45, 9. Make sure I'm extra early. So I get off the elevator and I hear music blasting in the weight room. So I turn the corner and I look, and it's KG in a full sweat at 8:45 in the morning. Practice isn't for 2+ hours, but he was the first one in the gym. Had been in the gym for a while and was already in his full routine, full sweat. And that just kind of set the tone for me. I think that showed me like, look, this man's on season 20. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's, the first one in the gym by far, getting his work in a full sweat of day one of training camp, when he's not expected to do that. So that's one of my favorite KG stories, because it just shows his greatness, shows his dedication, and the passion that he had. And like you said, the intensity of, him showing up to work every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Tyus, your brother Trey plays on the Spurs. Woo-hoo. You guys have faced against each other 10 times, I believe. What is that like? I couldn't imagine being able to do that, play against my brother. How cool was that? Is there trash talking? Is there more, more to it than just playing against your brother? Are you trying to go at him even more so? What's that like?
Yeah, it's hard to put that into words. That's one of those dreams that don't seem reachable or attainable. It's, we've dreamed about that since we were little, playing on the Little Tykes hoop in the backyard, just playing against each other in the NBA. He's been my biggest fan my whole life. I've been his biggest fan. So just cheering each other on, trying to get to this point, but then us both being here, being able to play on this stage is just a blessing. And then, but those games they mean a little more. They mean a little more for sure. When one of us comes down, gets a chance to, we score on each other. The other one's definitely coming right back at him. But those games are the ones we'll never forget. Our family, usually makes that trip, and it's a big celebration. to say the least.
I always wonder when like siblings make it, like two siblings make it big. Is there a competition on who buys like the best gifts for the rest of the family from there on out?
I think early on there was, but now it's just kind of, you know, we're kind of both, you know, we're both comfortable with where we're at, so it's not too much competition.
I always wondered that. All right, the thing I got to ask you about is when you were in Minnesota was the Jimmy Butler time, and obviously the Jimmy Butler time in Minnesota is just sort of cherry on top, that infamous practice where he went off. Were you in the room for that?
I was in the room for that. That's one of my favorite NBA moments to date. I think you always hear guys telling their, you know, kind of their NBA stories. And that's definitely one that's up there. But it was kind of a buildup of things. Jimmy, you know, Jimbo is an amazing teammate first and foremost. He's a guy you want to go to war with, go to battle with every single night. He's gonna pump you up and you know put the battery in your back and make you feel like you're the best player on the floor no matter what your role is. And for me as a younger guy, when he got to Minnesota, he kind of took me under his wing and you know take me out to dinner, made my family feel like a part of his family. He would come to Trey's high school games with me from time to time. So. I have nothing but great things to say about JB, but that practice was definitely legendary, and there's a lot of layers to that moment. And it's funny because Josh Okogie, who's teammates with me now in Phoenix, he was a rookie in Minnesota that year, and that was his first ever NBA practice. So we talk about that day quite often.
How bad was he actually cooking that day? He was going.
He wasn't shooting the
all
basketball.
layups.
He wasn't shooting the bat.
Oh, at
he
all.
wasn't shooting at all.
Oh,
He was proving a point that you can win while doing other things besides scoring the ball. And he did that night.
God, I just love that.
That's what's up.
He was passing the ball, taking charges, picking up full court. He was doing all the little stuff, and his team wasn't losing, as been told.
Point proven.
Crazy. It was a crazy day.
That's tough. I like that. Tyus, this has been awesome. We appreciate the time, man. Good luck this year.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up.
Well, Lou's going to do fun stuff tonight without us, always, never invites us. But we do have a fun show for tomorrow. We got Ryan Russillo. Nafisa Collier is coming on, and she says she's coming on win or lose tonight as Liberty Lynx is back on Game 3 this evening. So that, I'm not going to predict then.
Ryan Russillo with an E. That's an interesting way.
I'll look at who's reading again. That's always
a
good to
typo?
see, too.
My bad for calling you
No,
out.
it's not a typo. That's how he spells his name. Mets Dodgers, what do you got?
I got the Doyers.
Wrong.
6-3.
Wow. Mets win. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one.
Run it back, run it up, run it back, run it up, run it back.